We know that a goal is to bring more phone-ups through the door using better phone skills. We want to be ourselves on the call, and for the most part, for most of us, that means winging it. We say, look, when I get a phone up on the call, I just take it as it comes. I try to get a name and number and get them interested in coming in. At the same time, we as sales executives are always looking, however, for the magic words that will help us handle an objection or close a deal. We ask the people we work with, well, what do I say when the prospect says type questions? Am I right? Well, the point is that we want to be ourselves, and at the same time, we want the magic selling words. The fact is, the best way to get us what we want is by having the magic words built into a structured dialogue guide. There are 5 reasons as to how structured phone-up dialogue can help you sound more professional, more likable, and get you more appointments. Let's look at them. Number 1, most prospects are subconsciously looking for leadership. Phone-ups want information, but many of them also think that it would be good if they could find someone to talk to that they liked, that knew what they were doing, and could provide some direction. A sales consultant with a clear goal and leadership language can provide phone-up prospects a way of getting what they want, and at the same time, help the consultant get what he or she wants as well. Number 2, structured dialogue still lets you be you. Some salespeople object to using structured dialogue. Why? Because they think it all sounds canned. Now, for what it's worth, I'm going to suggest to you that if you were ever exposed to a high-quality, structured presentation, you didn't care because it sounded conversational. Structured dialogue is a tool that great salespeople apply their personality and style of communication to. In the beginning, of course, structured dialogue is uncomfortable, but after some practice, you can put your spin on it. You begin to internalize the words. It becomes a part of your style. But it is the structure that gives you the initial track to run on. Number 3, structured dialogue keeps you in the leadership role. This is particularly true in shorter presentations, such as a conversation on the phone. In this brief period of time, there is no room for verbal errors. The first impressions you create on the phone set the stage for your success for the rest of the relationship. But on the converse, just for a moment, let's look at what the unstructured, ad-libbing sales consultant has to go through on the phone. Now, this free thinker sales consultant is going to hear an objection or a question. Now, at that point, this sales consultant has about 1.25 seconds in which to answer. And that's because 1.25 seconds is the normal pause in human conversation. Now, here's the catch. In those 1.25 seconds, the consultant must formulate the best possible response. That means he or she must arrange it so that it's easily understandable and not confusing. They have to edit out all the negatively prejudicial words and hopefully insert some positively motivating words. And then he or she's got to deliver it off the cuff in a natural fashion, all the while paying no attention to his or her own mental processes, but instead listening to the prospect for signs of what the prospect is really thinking, and do it all in 1.25 seconds. Of course, we can do those steps to some degree, but the words that come out still may not be the best words for the prospect to hear. It's much easier to follow some structured dialogue, and within that structure have the best possible words already there. Winging it is just too much work. Besides, there are only so many things that should be talked about on the phone with a phone up. From that aspect alone, it's easier to use a proven appointment setting strategy. Number 4, structured dialogue is flexible. Now, don't fall into the trap of thinking the structured dialogue has to be delivered in a specific order all at once without regard to how the prospect reacts. I mean, that'd make about as much sense as getting a black belt in karate by learning dozens of kicks and blocks and punches in a specific order, and then in a fight of your life, trying to use all those blocks and kicks and punches in the same order that you learned them without regard to what your opponent did. Of course, that'd be ridiculous. It'd be hazardous to your health as well. Obviously, you'd have a better chance of survival by responding to your opponent's moves with the appropriate techniques at the appropriate time. A structured sales presentation is precisely the same. It's a group of responses, learned verbatim, that can be delivered in any order depending on how the prospect reacts. Number 5, good structure creates the feel of natural conversation. Look, great presentations don't work because they're structured. They got structured because they work. Clearly, there are good sets of selling words and weaker sets of selling words. What we will be reviewing with you is a time-tested, proven effective, structured set of appointment-setting words. In summary, in the big leagues, where the stakes are high, nobody shoots from the hip. Practically every presentation you have ever seen that's consistently good is structured. Now, during your weekly private practice sessions, you will learn that you can still have your own personality and at the same time use a structured sales script guide that allows you to lead the relationship and at the same time build up your trust and credibility with the prospect. See you next session.